So good morning. This is the January 17th, 2024 meeting of the Albany Regional Board of Review. The hearing is being held via video conference call, the WebEx at the following location: the New York State Department of State, 1 Commerce Plaza, 99 Washington Avenue, conference room 505 in Albany, New York, 12231. So the time is now 9:12 a.m. and the hearing is officially open. So the members of the board today are Ms. Jackie Coons on the left, Ms. Laura Ryder to my right, Mr. Andy Ellis to my left, and Mr. Jared Babinger to my right. My name is David Abramo. I'm the chairman for today, and also from the Department of State online is Mr. Forelli. So at this time, we'll now hear the scheduled petitions. When you speak, please do address the board and give your name, your title, and your legal address so that our court reporter online can have all the information requested so she can record that. We may have to stop time to time to consult with our technical staff as we get through the hearings. So in making comments to the board, please do provide a descriptive narrative in manners referring to your exhibits to enable those to also get entered into the record for the court reporter to understand that what we're looking at. So that's the introduction. We have 2 hearings for today. The first hearing is in the matter of petition number 2022-0603. The petitioner is Freeman Peterson Inc., representing the Christian Brothers Academy today. So what I'll do is I'll introduce the case. Let me get through some of the introduction, and then we'll open up the floor for the petitioners to present their case to the board, okay? So we're going to review this case is what the petitioner is asking is actually relief and requested to reopen a previous case and they're asking relief of one of the conditions based on that previous determination. So I'm going to review what that determination based on the previous hearing was, go through a little bit of the project itself, the hearing, and then we'll open it up. So the petition pertains to the construction of an air-supported dome. It's assembly occupancy A3. It's an indoor sports without spectator seating. It's a construction type 2B, non-combustible, unprotected construction, 1 story of height. 1 story, it's 65 feet in height, containing 66,340 square feet in total gross area. It's known as the Christian Brothers Academy, located at 12 Airline Drive, Town of Colony, County of Albany, State of New York. So in the previous determination, it was granted that relief was relief to the following code sections. Relief was granted to 19 NYCCR or CRR Part 1221, the Building Code of New York State, Section 504, Table 504.3, which regulates the building height and the number of stories. Relief is also granted to Section 19 NYCRR Part 1221, the Building Code of New York State, Section 506, Table 506.2, which regulates the allowable building area. Relief is also granted to Section 19 NYCRR Part 1225, the Fire Code of New York State, Section 903.2.1.3, Group A3, which regulates or which requires an automatic sprinkler system where the fire area exceeds 12,000 square feet. A part of that determination, the following findings were concluded. Number 1, that the subject of this petition pertains to the construction of an air-supported indoor athletics practice facility. It's a sports dome. It measures approximately 214 feet wide, 310 feet long by 65 feet in height. Finding number 2 is that the petitioner indicates the proposed sports dome will be used as a sport complex without permanent spectator seating. Finding number 3 was that the proposed sports dome will exceed the height and area limitations permitted by tables 504.3 and 506.2 of the 2020 Building Code of New York State. Finding number 4 was that the proposed sports dome will contain a fire area exceeding that allowed by the 2020 Fire Code of New York State, Section 903.2.1.3, Condition 1. Finding number 5 was that in addition, the petitioner requested relief from the requirements that an automatic sprinkler system be installed in the sports dome as required by the Fire Code of New York State, Section 903.2.1.3 for the following reasons. A, the proposed structure is a pressurized air-filled canvas dome with tie-down cabling, and there is no practical or safe means of incorporating an automatic sprinkler system into this type of structure. B, if there was ever a fire in the dome, the air pressure system would be shut off, the dome would collapse, and any potential fire would be extinguished. C, there is an existing fire hydrant located within 100 feet of the proposed sports dome. D, a similar structure known as the Athens Sports Dome was constructed nearby without a sprinkler system using an exception provided in the 2010 Fire Code in New York State, Section 903.2.1.3, that could be applied to this structure. Finding number 6, the local code official has been contacted in this matter and does not object to granting of the variance under Part 1205. Finding number 7 was that petitioner states the proposed occupant load of the building is 280 persons. Finding number 8 is that the entrance building is a Type 2B building. The requested variance only pertains to the sports dome and not the entrance building. So it was determined during this hearing that it was proposed to be granted to those code sections that we reviewed with the following conditions. And we'll go through these conditions and then we'll open this up. So condition number 1 was that the building be used only for a sports facility without permanent spectator seating being installed and will be limited to being used as a sports training and practice facility by CBA and or their affiliates. It shall not be used for any other purpose. Condition number 2 was that the building's design occupant load is less than 300 persons. Condition number 3 is that a monitored fire alarm system with automatic detection along with manual fire alarm pole boxes per Section 907.2 of the 2020 Fire Code of New York State shall be provided. Condition number 4 was that the fire extinguisher shall be installed at every entrance and exit door. Condition number 5 is that all conditions, enhancements, and equipment offered by the petitioner be installed as described in accordance with the applicable generally accepted reference code standards. And condition number 6 was that all other aspects of this building construction will be in compliance with applicable codes, rules, and regulations. So that was the conditions that was determined based on a previous hearing. Today, we understand that there's been relief and request to condition number 3, that a monitored fire alarm system with automatic detection along with manual fire alarm pole boxes per Section 907.2 of the 2020 Fire Code of New York State shall be provided. We understand the petitioner is asking relief from that condition. So at this time, what we'll do is we'll open it up for discussion to the petitioners. Thank you for being with us today. Appreciate your time. We'll let you describe your request to the board.
Thank you very much. So we are seeking relief from condition number 3, but only a portion of condition number 3.
Okay. I'm going to stop you right there. Yeah. Why don't you just state your name and for the record.
Yep. Kurt Benedetto, Director of MEP, FP Engineering for Freeman Peterson, 80 Wolf Road, Albany, New York, 12205.
Perfect. Thank you. Why don't we go around the room? Yeah. Why don't we go at the end?
Craig Tripp, also with Peterson, same address. I was here for the last petition.
Okay. Great.
Mark Anderson, Senior Electrical Engineer with Freeman Peterson, same address, 80 Wolf Road.
Okay. Were you able to hear that online?
No, I couldn't hear the last one.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, Mark Anderson, Senior Electrical Engineer with Freeman Peterson at 80 Wolf Road.
I think I got
Thank
it.
you. Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, thank you. So we are seeking relief for a portion of condition number 3. And that relates to the automatic smoke detection. We are and have installed pull boxes already. It is a monitored fire alarm system that reports out, so those conditions we're all planning to meet. It is the automatic smoke detection. I believe you guys have the letter that we sent previously, kind of to ask to reopen the petition. For a lot of the same reasons that we sought relief for the sprinkler system kind of apply to the automatic smoke detection. The dome itself isn't constructed to hang many things from it. So if we were to do a traditional spot type detection in a large volume like this, the spacing would be condensed. So, a normal space like this, you might be 30 feet. For a smoke detector, we might be 5 feet. So now every 5 feet across the great expanse of this dome, we would have to hang a smoke detector, and there's no means to do so. We also looked into doing beam detection, but this, as an inflatable sports dome, it's a canvas dome. It moves, subject to weather conditions. Obviously, snow forces it to move. So it may work when we set it up, but the next day when the wind's blowing, it's going to be a trouble, or alarm, or when it snows, it's going to be trouble. So it's going to be unreliable. We also looked into doing video detection of smoke and things like that. They've got some new systems out there, but the construction of the dome, again, with the white translucent, everyone we spoke to on the camera systems manufacturers, that color makes it difficult to detect smoke. It's not a good background to analyze the video. There's other methods of doing sampling, but again, the same thing with the spot type. The sampling tubes have to have the same spacing as the detection, so we'd be stringing tubes everywhere, and there's, again, no method of attachment for the dome for that. So that's kind of the pieces, parts in our mind. And then when it comes to my understanding from reading some of the commentary with automatic detection and assembly occupancies, it's really for, you get a large group of people in a building that they're not familiar with, and they might not know how to get out. Again, I'm sure you guys have all been in the dome before. If there was an event or something happened in there, somebody pulled the fire alarm, how to get out of that space is pretty simple. Get to an exterior wall. There's 10 doors. There's stairs at every door, and it's not, there's no corridors or anything to go down. Or the egress path is pretty self-explanatory in a building like this. So we feel by meeting the pull stations, which are a condition of the previous ruling, but aren't actually a code requirement in a space like this, having the monitored fire alarm system, we have the smoke, or the fire extinguishers at all the doors, I feel like we're not lowering the life safety in this building structure.
Okay. Thanks for the
We
explanation.
did add duct detection in the aeration unit that maintains.
Right, yeah.
That was going to be one of our questions.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So we have talked to the local, the AHJ, the building officials in the town colony, and kind of what they've allowed in other domes. You mentioned the Athens dome in the previous petition. So we have the pull stations. We did add duct smoke detection to the air inflation unit. So there is a duct smoke detector across the entire return air path in the air inflation unit, and then there's a vehicle airlock that's kind of attached to the dome that we put heat detection in there. So that to me is a space that there could be a gator or something, and that's fine. But in the rest of the dome, it's limited combustibles in there. It's not any storage, or it's a track and a playing surface. So
And there's full enunciation also.
So the smoke detection system, is it
heat detection in the airlock. In the inflation unit, we added a duct smoke to the air inflation unit.
And heat detection in airlock is there because it's an unheated space. So smokes would not be suitable for that environment.
And if it's helpful at all, I do have some pictures from inside the dome on my phone. I can show you guys now, and I could also forward those if you want. That's all.
I think that would be helpful.
Going to bring up, show you?
Sure.
Yeah, so just for the record, we're going to enter in some photos, and then after this, you just have to email them over to the state department so that we have those on record.
So this is Andy from the board. So the smoke in the duct return is linked to the audible
Yes,
Yep.
alarm, absolutely.
Correct, it's all tied together.
And it shuts the unit down.
Wide open space.
Oh, it doesn't? We're not sure.
It shuts it down. It falls down.
Well, we have
Like, is there more than one return? Is there?
No, it's single location where, like, let me show you the house. So, understand that. Yeah, there's a 25-foot-ish pad with everything for all the
Right,
cameras.
is that
on the
near the
exterior.
vehicle airlock?
Just
From
around the
the
corner
from it,
the
okay.
vehicle. Yep. So that's where everything gets pumped in for the
Right.
building. And then on the inside of that, like I said, all
So things would have to be pretty smoky, and it's down low, right? So,
yeah, it's all that.
right, so if there was smoke up high, it would take a long time to actually ever get into that room.
If there was smoke way up at the top, but again, there's, like we were mentioning in the first pass with this, to begin with, if there's ever a fire in this thing, the structure itself, I mean, it's something, it's very non-combustible to begin with, but the structure itself isn't really an issue. If anything's ever going to be on fire, it's going to be something inside this thing. And with that wide open space, it's going to be pretty evident pretty quickly that that's on fire. It's probably going to be a garbage can or something. You know, there's not really anything in here that burns from the fire. But I'll put these in an email.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys
Yeah,
want
if
to
you
take a
guys
picture.
want to, yeah, if you don't mind.
Actually, there's a good one for you from the inside of where that location is.
Right.
Yep.
Yep.
It's a 4-lane track and turf on the interior, and the remainder of the exterior is the same surfacing as the track. Like weeds. There's no walls, there's no barriers, it's all just one gigantic open area. And I don't know if you guys recall from the last time around, but we have immensely, we probably have more than 2 times the amount of required egress doors than what would be compared to a standard construction building the same size. There's 4 sides, each side has two means of egress, the one with the vehicle airlock actually has 3. And we've got multiple ways out of this building. From when we did the first time, we had that figure where we showed the furthest we could ever possibly be from the door. Because I remember correctly, we're less than half of what we would be allowed to be from an exterior door in normal construction. So by virtue of what this building is, by default, we're already kind of ahead of the building in other ways. Where should this be sent to?
To Barbara.
Dan, or-
To Barbara.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, to Barbara, okay.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for showing this. Explain to me how the lighting's affixed to the dome.
The manufacturer of the dome provides cabling through the top. It's a multi-layer system. So between the layers, they have a cabling system that supports the fixtures.
Okay.
And it's specifically placed in the dome at particular locations. So if you saw the pictures of where the light fixtures are, they don't come all the way to the edge, obviously, or, they're inboard at the edges, pretty far, mainly because of the way the shape
The
of
curvature.
Yeah, and how the corners roll up too. So that is part of the manufacturing of the dome. The manufacturer is responsible for the lighting, they provide the lighting.
Okay.
And they run the cabling within there, within that cavity between the layers, down to the floor level to be powered down to the floor. So,
So that's built right into the construction of
yes,
of the dome itself.
yes.
Yeah.
And they have a particular manufacturer light fixture that they use always. So I'm sure there's big hidden weight of that. Like being proprietary to the lighting.
Sure. So there are no vertical walls, obstructions within the dome itself. And you saw the pictures, it's all wide open.
Corner to
Everything's
corner,
visible.
edge to edge.
You can see end to end. Any other combustible material that's up in the structure itself? I mean, a fixture, I guess, could, if it's, but besides that, anything else of the dome that could be combustible that?
No, if you, in the previous petition, there was a lot of backup from Farley, the dome manufacturer,
Right.
about the limited combustibility of the dome and testing that they did. And they, you mentioned in your reading there that if there ever was a fire and it got that bad, the dome would collapse and probably extinguish the fire.
Sure.
And I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but I do remember there was a sheet in that original submission that talked about the material of the dome itself. And there was, I don't remember the numbers, but it talked about the flame out period. If something were to light up, it would put itself out in seconds. So this isn't conducive for spread.
This is Laura from the board. We did receive a letter from the local fire inspector
Yes.
who's against this variance. And one of the things he said, which you may not be able to speak to, but someone from the school might. We have seen proposed event schedules for this facility, and it appears that it may be used for purposes other than what was initially proposed. And we feel that every attempt to protect the occupants must be made in the event of an emergency. You know, which you can see that happening, you know, once you have a dome like this, it's easy to say, hey, let's have graduation in here. And now you've got rows of chairs and people who are unfamiliar with the building, and any kind of assembly usage like that is way different than an open sports arena. I don't, you know, it's hard, you know, without the school here to speak for themselves, it's hard to have a conversation about it, but it is a concern, you know.
Well, like you said, we can't speak for the school on what they're gonna, what their event schedules or anything are, but I can say that, and I think it was also part of the original time around, that conversations with the town is that, and with the fire inspector, if there were ever to be a time when there was going to be something in the event of any, you know, in the dome of an event, they would coordinate with the town to, and I don't remember the terminology, but to have people stationed. The town has requirements for things that there were to be
Since the fire
Like a fire watch.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
Right, which, we've never talked about that, we could make it a condition.
Sure, yeah, I mean, if it's kind of funny, the prior determination was that it was be used specifically for a sports complex.
Right.
Right.
It would kind of, and that says, okay, don't use it for these other things. If they end up doing that and discuss it with the town would have to come up with a solution, or maybe it is a fire watch of some sort.
Right.
And we could maybe give them that option today as a way through this. I think that's a fear. So when you big open room, it's one thing. You know, if a fire's going to happen, it might be of the material that they're bringing in, maybe not the dome itself, but like you said, in a garbage can or something that, and maybe that can be seen pretty quickly. But it's, you know, if you bring in more material, like in an event of graduation or anything else that happens, that can create, it's a combustible material and create more of a fire hazard.
And I don't see a scenario where there would ever be any sort of partitions in the space. You know, it's not really conducive to that. But yeah, you know, maybe temporary seating or things like that. But I don't see any instance that it would be a, you know, partition space. You know, there's no means of drawing curtains.
Right,
And
no.
something's happening over here.
That we certainly, again, this is Laura on the board, we certainly have seen that where plenty of sports arenas were partitioned off during COVID for testing
Sure,
and
sure.
shots.
Right.
And suddenly you've got these maze of, standalone partitions dividing spaces up. So nothing's impossible, you
Yeah,
know.
well,
and-
right, so
you
also
know.
I know the AFRMs don't, that we kind of references, you know, it's right down the road, from ours. They actually have curtains that were designed as part of their,
Right.
their construction.
Yeah.
That they
Right,
do
those are
section it
right,
off.
big enough, right, they can have multiple games going at the same
Yeah.
time.
Correct. You know, and they have, it's a solution that we're going towards here, or asking for.
Well, I mean, you can always build a structure inside a structure too, and that's kind of where, like, if they decide to, it would be great to hang or do something, you end up constructing something to hang a curtain from or bring in partitions. I guess there's that.
Yeah,
always
I
that
think the hanging
exception.
of the curtains would be
You probably couldn't do it from the structure itself,
Right,
but you
right.
could build something in there that'll allow you to do that. I mean, a big open space like that, puts all of a sudden a year later, oh, it'd be great to have X, Y, to Z in there.
Well, I think, you know, in my mind, there's two parts to that one. One is they put a tremendous amount of money into the surfacing for the entire interior of this dome, and I can't see them jeopardizing that surface and that money for the use that it's been built for, to put things on top of it, even temporarily, that might tear the track surfacing
Right.
or,
Yeah.
you know, ruin the turf or anything like that. But I think the other part too is, for some weird reason, they even did consider going that route. They would have to go back to the company
Sure.
to get a permit to do that.
In an ideal world.
Yes.
Right, well,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you know.
So you get the handyman, so yeah, I can build that for you. And then
Right.
all of a sudden they had a bunch of,
Right.
you know, because the coach wanted to play baseball in the spot that was interfering with the other sport. And I don't know. I guess. Okay. Any other questions or thoughts from the board members? Petitioners? No? Do we have anybody from the town of Colony online with us today? Code enforcement official?
I do not see anybody online from the town of Colony.
Okay.
You guys do have from prior to our initial meeting for requesting to reopen this, you should have a copy of the email from the town that from Ben Stevens, the fire chief all mentioned that him and building code had talked and they're in support of the project. I think you were copied on that.
Yeah, we
I
got
have
it
a
on
copy of
Friday.
it.
That was the opposite.
That was the opposite.
They were saying that they're not in support of granting those.
Yeah, that one I'm unaware of.
Yeah, I'm
This was
aware.
from,
Right, this was just recent, yeah.
Yeah.
this was from November 13th.
This is from January 12th.
Okay.
Yeah.
From,
Yeah, I
from
from
Ben.
No, from
From
Ben,
Ben.
Ben
Okay,
Stevens.
okay, that's interesting.
And this was from Ben saying that he was on board with the duck smoke.
Well, he's on board with the duck smoke. This is saying he's not on board with the total variance.
Yeah, well, with the relief they requesting here.
Right. Gotcha.
But it was not specific on
Right.
what part of the variance is.
Well, he said here, it is the position of the town of Colony Fire Services and the town of Colony Building Department that automatic smoke detection is needed. Last we were aware, smoke detection was going to be installed in the HVAC equipment. So that sounds like
What we'll do.
not enough.
That's what it
Yeah.
is.
That's what you-
So that's true.
And then his issue with possible use of it for other events besides sports.
But the first sentence is, we have reviewed the request for relief from condition 3 and are not in favor. So that is his not in favor of why we're here today.
Right, and that's kind of the same thing, and I tried to, when I said that, you know, we're not seeking complete relief from condition 3, it's just kind of a different flavor on the automatic smoke detection. Again, we've got the monitored fire alarm system, it's installed, it's there, we have pull stations at every door, they're there installed. It's the automatic detection, how we achieve that. Our proposed solution is the duck smoke solution.
So this is Andy from the board. So the first time you guys were here, I think I asked the question about the return duct. And there was just heat detection in there the last time, and you've added smoke? Is that
No,
a
we have-
recent in the
No,
return? Or was
They
there
were
always smoke in there?
Analog has heat detection.
Right, but the return duct has always had smoke detection in it?
It was added after the
No,
initial.
we added it after.
Yeah.
It did not come with, we
Okay,
were under the impression that it would be provided with the unit and it was not.
okay.
So we added it after.
I'm just trying to get the position of the town, whether that was something that we had, because I thought I had remembered asking some kind of question about the return air duct. I didn't go back to look at the note specific, or I didn't look at our,
I think it was added between
between then and
between the
now.
initial,
Yes.
the initial visit here and the second one.
I was just curious if the town knew that that was in there
Before they wrote
Yeah.
the
before they
letter.
wrote this letter.
yeah, that was
That's,
part of his email here, we can share this with you as well if you'd like. But it was basically saying Don and I are willing to attend the meeting, we reviewed the proposed smoke detection system for the structure, and have no objections to the proposal. The proposal is providing the duct smoke detection. If
Right.
return of
Right.
air inflation.
Well, I guess they have no objection to it, but maybe they didn't realize it was in lieu of any other fire
Yeah.
detection, you know. Okay. I can never hear it, yes. Okay.
So if an automatic detection system were to be installed, what would that entail? You mentioned that hanging something every 5 feet in the ceiling of the dome. Is that just speculative? Like what would it entail?
We'd have to lay that out based on the arc of the dome, the height will dictate the spacing. Spacing will change as you work your way across the dome. So corners would be more of a problem for us because of how they tight roll into each other. And then routing wiring and things of that nature to get up into those areas. So there's nothing to attach wiring or the device to at this point. So we'd have to go back to the manufacturer and say, hey, is there even a possibility? It wasn't designed for it to begin with. You know, is there an option to do that?
Yeah.
So
We've done that. There's no attachment points.
It was not designed for attachment
It
points.
wasn't designed for that, and you mentioned the lighting. The lighting might be every 50 feet.
Okay.
A typical smoke detector space is 30 feet in a normal 9-foot ceiling application. The higher you go, the space needs to get closer. So now we're well inside any attachment point. We would end up with, maybe exaggerating about 100 smoke detectors on the ceiling here, maybe more as a big space. So that it's it was a very practical solution for this type of space. We mentioned going to beam detection.
Yeah.
It'll work on setup, but the minute that dome moves, starts moving in the wind or any sort of weather conditions, it's in trouble and it's not reliable. Same thing with video. So.
This is Laura from the board. You mentioned there are 10 exit points from the building. And what are the conditions of those exits? Is it paved all the way around the building? So if you go out one of those, other exit doors that most people never would, where do you wind up?
You end up on a 20-foot wide fire access road that circumnavigates the entire structure, and that was a requirement of the town of Colony building for fire department. Even though it's a dome and you're never going to need a ladder truck, is where you put them. And then they need it from a practical standpoint for snow removal, because you can't allow snow to pile up on the exterior perimeter.
And are there exterior lights at all the exits as well? So that if you were there in the evening, you wouldn't be like,
there's emergency lighting.
where do I go now? Okay. Are there also emergency lights in the inside?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, the generator
Oh, okay.
provides power for emergency lighting.
Gotcha.
Horns and strobes at every door is pretty much the same. Full station, horn strobe, exit sign.
And that heat detection that's in that airlock is tied to those horns and strobes?
Yes.
Yeah, it's all tied back together. There's a part-on control panel inside the dome.
Sandy from the board again. So I guess my concern is, maybe you're a freshman in the building, you've got earbuds in, you're running the track, and there's a lot of distraction. So maybe on that one end of the building and the other end, there's some kind of chaos going on. I think the last thing I would think about is pulling a pull station on my way out. My main concern is, there's already a lot of distraction in the building to begin with. So I guess that's my biggest concern is awareness of the smoke. At 300 feet away, I might not notice, even if it is open all the way across, because I'm focused on what I'm doing. So I'd like to know some thoughts about
Yeah,
that.
so one argument I can use there, and you kind of touched on it earlier, I kind of relate this almost like an atrium, using kind of some of the life safety logic of an atrium, right? When you're designing a smoke control system for an atrium, you're allowed to bank smoke in the upper levels of the atrium.
Sure.
Because by the time that smoke gets to the breathing zone, hopefully everyone's already egressed the building.
Okay.
So we have a large volume here. with
Right.
the ability to bank smoke before it ever gets into the breathing zone of the occupants.
Okay.
So that person who's running the track, you would hope, even if you ran the track 4 times by the time the fire started, eventually, hey, something's different here, I'm the only one left in the building kind of thing.
Okay.
So I think, again, from a life safety, from an egress time frame to get everybody out of this building, you've got a large volume of bank smoke similar to the nature.
Right, which is kind of why I feel like, is the smoke detector in the return air duct, will it even do anything? Like, how often does the smoke from up high actually get pulled down? You know,
Yeah,
like,
so
you know,
one of my, I'm a mechanical engineer by trade, so one of my thoughts there is, you're right, if there's an event way over in the opposite corner of this inflation unit, is that going to detect? I don't know, we have a CFD model or anything like that. But one of the concerns that I would have is sort of a fire in the inflation unit itself. You know, so any smoke that gets blown out of that, yeah, maybe it's directed up, but at least it's generated there. And I'm sure there is a little bit of research, so that would sense that. So I think that's we got flames in there. That's the one spot we do have combustion happening all the
Right.
time. So at least we're near that potential source. That's actually, you know, as you mentioned, 90 feet corner to the airlock. So we are putting the smoke section we do have near possible sources of, you know,
Right.
that are more likely anyway.
Okay.
right.
Has anyone looked into AFRMs and what they have?
This is what they have. And that's
They don't have an automatic detection system in the dome itself, or
Just
the
duct
duct
smoke.
smoke,
we've done.
the duct smoke detection, yeah, that's kind of the route we went when we first started talking to you guys again about opening Case Wheel. So I'm talking to Dan actually, was, you know, what are the other municipalities, what are the other domes? Domes all over the state.
Yeah.
Right.
We're not the only ones.
Sure.
Right.
That are running into
That's
this
what-
issue.
Right.
Um,
Right, and I think, right, the difference for the fire inspector is that, you know, after there's always a million games going on, so it's not likely that's ever gonna be used for something that's more intensely occupied
Sure.
than a soccer game or whatever else they do there. So, you know, you can see how a facility at a school, you know, the temptation to use it for other things is very great
Sure.
once it's built.
I mean, have you been to an Athens on Friday night?
I have not, I've never,
Oh, it's
I've
packed.
never
Oh,
set,
yeah.
I've
It's
never
just
set foot in an
there's-
outdoor.
there's a lot-
Kids play football,
yeah.
kids soccer,
Never-
there is.
There's equipment everywhere,
Yeah.
actually getting out of that place is harder
Right.
than anything, so.
Right.
It's
But
pretty
again,
bad.
when you think about the number of occupants in space
But
though,
yes,
it's
Sure.
practically empty compared to the
Yes.
square footage, whereas
Right.
something more intense like a graduation ceremony, you know, would obviously be a completely different animal.
Right.
So,
Going back to combustible materials, the turf, anything on the ground, do we know that's all non-combustible materials?
Well, it's not non-combustible, I mean, you know,
Well,
exterior football fields and things like that, you know, they've got the crumb rubber infield. So I mean, if somebody goes in there with the intent to start a fire, they can make a fire happen and like, being an idiot. But there's not anything that lends it, like there's no 2x4 construction or anything that is inherently like kind of go up.
There's no storage spaces, you know.
Yeah,
there's
that's
not
what
a
I'm just
locker
trying to
for
see.
sporting equipment and mats and things like that.
right. It's- Okay,
does anyone have any more questions?
yeah, any other questions, thoughts? Okay, great, then at this time, anyone online that has any thoughts or questions to offer before we go into deliberation? Great. So then at this time, what we do is we'll ask you to leave the room, the board will deliberate on the case, and then Barb will come get you and ask you to back in, and then we'll conclude the case and come to determination, okay? All right, great, so let's go off the record.
We're on the record.
Thank you. So we're coming out of recess in the matter of petition number 2022-0603. It has to do with the sports dome in Colony, located at 12 Airline Drive, Town of Colony, County of Albany, State of New York. We're here today because requesting modification to a previous determination that was decided on for this location. So at this time, we're going to go through our findings of fact. I do want to note that we're going to add, let me take a step back. We've taken a look at all your options that you presented. I really appreciate all the work that you did prior to coming here and presenting those options, because all those options is stuff that we've been talking about, like the beam detection system and all that. Having that, and we understand that your thoughts there, and we're also concerned about what we call nuisance alarms for the town. We don't want to put a system in there that's just going to cause more issues than really what we're trying to achieve here. So all that said, we are going to go forward in granting relief to the automatic detection system with a few extra conditions. And some of those, for example, would be inside the dome, no smoking is permitted, no cooking, no portable heaters, and no open flame devices. So those 4 items that we feel, just to limit the combustibles inside a dome space, those will all be written out inside. You'll eventually get a modified determination from the previous case. This will be modified, and so you'll have that all written out as part of those conditions. There's also condition number 1, if you remember, we said that the dome would only be used for sports purposes and nothing else, no assembly purposes. We're going to add a line in there that says it shall not be used for any other purpose, and anything other than that requires approval by the authority having jurisdiction. So if they do want to use it for assembly space or something else, that's not permitted. They'd have to go through and have whatever they're proposing to do be approved by the town. Yeah.
That's fair.
So I think that gets us through some of the concerns that we had with having big open space like this.
Yeah.
Our thought by granting today is the fact that you have a big open space, and all for the reasons that you demonstrated, is that the smoke will rise in the event and people can get out because there's enough exits. So all the conditions that we have here that were previous are going to stand. We'll modify the one based on today and add the one that I just explained. And I think that kind of concludes where our head's at as a board. Okay. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, yes.
All right. Great. So then, bear with us. We got to get through the determination. So there's a lot of talking here. We've already heard it, but we got to make sure it's on record to make sure that we have it and it's all understood. So, with that being said, we're here regarding the Christian Brothers Academy Sports Dome. It's located at 12 Airline Drive, Tata County, County of Albany. It's a construction 2B dome. It's 65 feet in height and it's 66,340 square feet total gross area. So the board previously granted relief from the following code sections: 19 NYCER Part 1221, the Building Code of New York State, Section 504, Table 504.3, Section 506, Table 506.2, and Section 903.2.1.3, Group A3 code section. Those were previously granted with conditions that we're going to modify today. We do make the following findings today, and these findings are identical to what we found prior, and we're adding a few findings after. So I'm going to go through all of them once again to get it on record. So number 1 is that the subject of this petition pertains to the construction of an air-supported indoor athletic space facility. It's a sports dome that measures approximately 214 feet wide by 310 feet long by 65 feet in height. Finding number 2 is that the petitioner indicates the proposed sports dome will be used as a sports complex without permanent seating. Excuse me. Finding number 3 is that the proposed sports dome will exceed the height and area limitations permitted by tables 503 or 504.3 and 506.2 of the 2020 Building Code of New York State. Finding number 4 is the proposed sports dome will contain a fire area exceeding that allowed by the 2020 Fire Code of New York State. Section 903.2.1.3, Condition 1. Finding number 5. In addition, the petitioner requests relief from the requirements that an automatic sprinkler system be installed in the sports dome as required by the Fire Code of New York State, Section 903.2.1.3, for the following reasons. 5A, the proposed structure is pressurized, air-filled canvas dome with tie-down cabling, and that there is no practical or safe means of incorporating an automatic sprinkler system into this type of structure. Finding 5B, if there ever was a fire in the dome, the air pressure system would be shut off, the dome would collapse, and any potential fire would be extinguished. Finding number 5C, there is an existing fire hydrant located within 100 feet of the proposed sports dome. Finding 5D, a similar structure known as Afram Sports Dome was constructed nearby with a sprinkler system using an exception provided in the 2010 Fire Code of New York State, section 903.2.1.3, that could be applied to this structure. Finding number 6, the local court official has been contacted in this matter and did not at that time object to the granting of this variance under Part 1205. Finding number 7, the petitioner states the proposed occupant load of the building is 280 persons. Finding number 8, the entrance building is a type 2 building. The requested variance only pertains to the sports dome and not the entrance building. So this, we're adding findings to the determination. Is finding number 9 is that the duct smoke detection system has been installed in the return air path from the unit and is connected to the audible system in the sports dome. Finding number 10 is that we understand the heat detection system is installed in the airlock. Finding number 11 is that there's 10 exits that exist with pull stations, fire extinguishers, and an audible alarm system. Finding number 12 is that the dome has been constructed according to the provided documents. Finding number 13 is that we understand that there is no practical alternative to an automatic detection system. We considered the possibility of the proposed alternatives and a concern that would cause nuisance alarms. So that concludes the findings. So in accordance with the above findings and based on the information presented and the testimony given today, the board finds that strict compliance with the provisions of the Uniform Fire Prevention and Building Code would physically or legally practicable, and granting this variance would not substantially adversely affect the code's provision for health, safety, and security. So it was determined previously, previous variance that, and we're in agreement today that there's a variance granted for sections, code sections 19 NYCRR part 1221, section 504, table 504.3. Code section 19 NYCRR part 1221, section 506, table 506.2. And code section 19 NYCRR part 1225, section 903.2.1.3, that they are to be granted with the following conditions. Number 1, that the building be used only for a sports facility without permanent spectator seating being installed and will be limited to being used as a sports training and practice facility by CPA and or their affiliates. It shall not be used for any other purpose. Any other use requires approval by the authority having jurisdiction. Condition number 2 is that the building's design occupant load is 300 persons. Condition number 3 is that the manual fire alarm pole boxes be installed per section 907.2 of the 2020 Fire Code of New York State shall be provided at all exits. Finding number 4 is that fire extinguishers shall be installed at every entrance and exit door. Finding number 5 is that all conditions, enhancements, and equipment offered by the petitioner be installed as described in accordance with the applicable generally accepted reference standards. Finding number 6, that all other aspects of the building construction will be in compliance with applicable codes, rules, and regulations. And finding number 7, the fouling shall not be permitted within the dome. There be no smoking, no cooking, no portable heaters, no open flame devices. And that's condition number 7. So that concludes the conditions. Do I have a motion from the board to modify the conditions as we stated?
This is Andy from the board. Make a motion.
Thank you, Andy. Do I have a second?
Laura seconds.
Great. So now I'll pull the board. Those in favor of what's been stated today, say yay. Those opposed, say nay. Ms. Coons?
Yay.
Mr. Ellis?
Yeah,
Ms. Ryder?
Yay.
Mr. Behringer?
Yay.
And the chairman, Mr. Brown, will also say yay. That's 5 yays, 0 nays, and the determination has been granted, and the relief that's been requested based on the conditions that we've described here. So furthermore, the decision is limited to the specific building and application before it, as contained within the petition, and should not be interpreted to give implied approval of any general plans or specifications presented in support of this application. Very good, ladies and gentlemen. That concludes that petition for today. Thank you for being with us and bearing through that and all the previous arguments. Great. So let's go off the record. There we are.
Yeah.
Okay, everyone. Thank you for being here. So let's go on the record.
We're on the record.
Okay, great. So we are going into our second hearing for today. It's regarding.
Excuse me,
petition
Chairman.
number-
Chairman
Yeah.
Abramo, is this meeting being recorded?
Yes.
Okay, we couldn't hear it. Thank you.
All good. Thank you for checking. So the time's now 10:44 a.m. It's January 17th, 2024. And I'll introduce the members of the board because, like I said, you weren't here earlier when we did introductions. So for the members of the board, we have Ms. Jackie Coons on my left, Mr. Andy Ellis also on my left, and then Ms. Laura Ryder and Mr. Jared Behringer, and my name is David Abramo. I'm the chairman today. So when you speak, please address the board, give your name and your title and your legal address so the court reporter online can record that properly. We also may have to stop from time to time to consult with one another, so just bear with us when we get through the hearing.
thank you.
In making comments to the board, please do provide a descriptive narrative on matters referring to your exhibits to enable the court reporter to enter those into record. Okay? So this is petition number 2023-0638. The petitioner is the Coble Court Engineering PLLC. It pertains to the construction of a building of occupancy groups A2, assembly banquet hall of construction type 4, heavy timber. It's 2 stories in height, 4,464 square feet in gross floor area. It's located at 204 Barnes Road, the town of West Sand Lake, County of Rensselaer, State of New York. The petitioner is seeking relief from Code Section 19 NYC-RR Part 1225, the 2020 Fire Code of the New York State, Section 903.2.1.2, Group A2, which states that an automatic sprinkler system shall be provided throughout stories containing Group A2 occupancies and throughout all stories from the Group A2 occupancy to and including the levels of exit discharge serving that occupancy where more of the following conditions exist. Number 1, the fire area exceeds 5,000 square feet. And number 2, the fire area has an occupant load of 100 or more. We understand the petitioner proposes an occupancy level of 298 persons and requests relief from the requirement that a building containing occupant load of 100 or more be required to contain an automatic sprinkler system. So that's our introduction to the hearing. That's our understanding of why we're here today. But this time, we'll open it up the board to the petitioners to allow you to present your case to the board, and then we'll go through that and allow you to speak, and then we'll have questions and answers as we go through this. So as a reminder, if you don't mind, when you first start speaking, state your name and address.
I'm Dan Kaufman from Cobble Court Engineering. My legal address is 511 Walnut Drive, Clifton Park, New York, 12065. I'm the engineer for the project. This is Mr.
Why don't
Bailey.
you introduce yourself as well?
My name is Ken Bailey. I own the property and I built it. I'm not sure if what you said was all correct, but.
Well, it's what the legal occupancy
Oh, okay.
numbers calculates in the number. So it's.
We'll go through that and make sure that we have all the facts that we do have correct.
If there are decisions that we might reduce it to a certain amount, depending on what we decide here, that will be, we'll figure it out.
So Mr. Bailey, what is your legal address?
Oh, my address is 204 Barnes Road, West Sand Lake, New York, 12196.
Great. Court reporter, were you able to hear
Were you able to
hear that online?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, great. So then we'll open up the floor to present your case at this time.
Okay. So he's proposing the facility to only be open in the, from June 1st to October 30th. For 17, I think it's for 17 or 18 events. 17 events, which is what had been agreed to with the town of Sand Lake on in those planning meetings that we presented at exhibits. So it's not like it's going to be a year-round facility. It's only going to be a seasonal facility, and so it's just those events, and we're going to have exit doors set up so that the distances are less than 75 feet for people to exit. We'll have the exit signs up. We're going to have fire extinguishers and all the appropriate fire suppression controls, and it's going to have there's going to be cupola. There's vents on each side that will vent out, and if there is a fire, pretty easily, and so that's why we're applying to have the fire code waived. It's not like we're going to have. We're going to be able to have the smoke alarms, and there's going to be early warning, so it's not like it's going to be able to easily exit for any of the guests that are in there. So that's, but I mean, if we need to have extra doors, we're definitely willing to do that. That has been proposed, is to have appropriate number of doors and the appropriate number and all the appropriate other fire suppression devices that are needed.
Okay. So go ahead. Yeah, I'll open up to the board for now for questions and comments.
Yes, thank you.
All right, so you referenced so it stated that you were looking for 298 people. So
Well,
that's wrong.
Well, that's the multiplier that has to go
Okay.
for because it's under A2 facility, you have to use like the 15, you have to use the 15 multiplier.
Okay.
So, but if that's, we don't have to have, we could go with only 150 or.
Yeah, so it's based on
So
area.
the next question, that was my next question was,
Permission for 150.
correct.
Okay.
So that was my
That's
next
from the
question.
town.
So the zoning approval was for 150.
So we need for 150, but if you go into the code.
Right, but the code is, right,
And
but
it's
it's,
A-2.
the site itself is approved for 150.
Okay, so the site approved 150, but the code under A-2 says you have to have a certain multiplier, and I have to show.
Yep.
So I did the calculation per the multiplier in the code.
Okay.
Now I realize, yes,
So you're not looking to go over 150 guests?
no, if that's, we can go with the 150, that's fine. But I have to show, I understand I still have to show the calculation per code anyway.
There's another.
We understood, yeah.
There's
Can
a-
I talk?
Yes,
Yeah,
you may
yes,
talk.
My name is Ken Bailey.
Yeah.
There's another clarification. It's not two-story, okay?
It's a story with
Can I-
mezzanine.
Yeah, I thank you. You understand.
Well, the second floor is
Is
only,
that considered a two-story thing? Yeah.
it's a
Not
second floor.
necessarily.
So there is one second floor for only half of it, for only 1/3 of the building. It's not like it's like a full,
Two stairways on both ends.
And are we looking to have seating on those stairwells?
Um,
On that upper level?
I was looking for that. Like a few tables.
Is it open like a mezzanine?
Yes,
Yes.
it's open to the downstairs.
It is a mezzanine.
It's-
It
would be
does
the
meet the
equivalent
requirements
that.
of a mezzanine.
Yeah, so it would be a mezzanine.
There's two stairs on both ends.
Right, but the in between the stairs, that's open like a mezzanine.
yes.
It's on 1/3 of the building.
So if it'd be on one of the side of the
That's-
sliders, or is it
Yes, so when you come down
It's
the
like under the
stairs,
eaves, if you look at the section.
there's the slide.
under, yeah?
Yeah, the big
See,
slab.
the old Dutch barns were built.
Right.
Go on, Ken. You know, it's-
I built it.
Yeah, this is a good, it's good for you to speak to.
Yeah, this is an open conversation.
Yeah,
We definitely, the more information the board has,
I-
the better we
We
can
make
make
a big H. What you do is you build a mortise and tendon joint barn, right? You know what vents are? You know what vents are? Okay, I'll let people know. So think of 7 vents, 12 foot apart. These are 8 by 8s, 20 foot tall. Then across the center, okay, you've got 8 by 12s, 20 foot long. Okay? So think of an H being built on the floor, and then what they used to do was they would raise these like this. Okay, so you raise them, then you join them together with big beams to the next bit. So then, when you look down the center, it's wide open floor plan. If you look to the right, you got 14 feet on both sides of you, wide open to the other end on the downstairs. Upstairs is where that mezzanine business comes in, okay? And I have other barns that are like this. I have 5 other barns that we put horses, cows, hay, because we can drive hay wagons inside. We have mezzanines on both sides for hay bales and hay storage and such. So, and so anyway, I've got straight down the center, okay, and straight up, 24, 25 feet to the ceiling, all open, with vents on both ends, excuse me, vents on both ends of your peaks.
Sure.
Okay, a cupola in the center, okay, which could be vented to the outside if you make me, okay?
Is it current, there's no,
Right
it's not
now-
open to the outside?
Right now, it's not.
The cupola's.
I could easily do that, and I built the slats, I built the cupola, did the whole thing myself, okay? I could do this if you say, no, we want that vented too. For right now, though, with the rains and the heavy winds and that, you're gonna get, it blows underneath those vents, it does, and you're gonna get water and stuff like that, okay? But if that is, if that's something that you require, you could do that. Also, I have 2 sliding doors on the end of this, okay? I have 16 feet of doors on one end, 2 8-footers, 2 8-footers on the other end. I understand some people say, well, sliding doors we have to be careful with because, so what we also put in our plans is on each side of the barn, there are 2 doors with panic bars, okay? So we have those 2 doors too, okay, on each side, okay?
That's what, yeah, each of those panic doors are set, so there's no distance where it's going to keep everybody to exit for those panic doors.
Even the upstairs, we situated the door so that if you don't count the sliding door, which is right at the bottom of the stairs, but if you say, no, you have to be able to get to the other door, he's giving you the footage from middle of upstairs, I believe.
Yes,
Yes.
Walk the distance down and you go right out the door that way,
yes.
okay?
So let's go back, so the variance is, and thank you for explaining all that. The variance is requested for relief from the requirement of sprinklers in the building.
Because we went over 100.
Yes, and that's what the code is saying.
I
Went over 100 or 150.
I understand.
Code per 290, but you
Yep.
say you got relief, you got 150. I believe we received an exhibit and we'd like to enter that in, that is not originally in the packet, but we were emailed exhibit 13
Yes.
that describes the cost
Oh,
to install a sprinkler system. Can you
Oh.
explain that to us and how that's the status of that?
Well, that was,
I got it.
I'll let Ken speak to that.
Well, I'm just saying, with permission to speak freely here. The guy comes to my place and he looks it over. He goes, Ken, the only way that you could die in a fire here is if you wanted to die. I'm just saying what he said to me. I said, well, I gotta have an estimate though, because these guys are looking at numbers too. And he says, Ken, do you know how much the pump would cost? We're not on city water. We're a horse farm.
So all of these items that you're describing are things that we need to consider as a board
I
to understand the.
He says, do you know how much that pump's gonna cost you? He goes, you're gonna have more money involved in this system with the storage tank and stuff. And I'm looking for all kinds of ways to help out. Well, at one time we talked about a cistern. I mean, I got water in one of the other cow barns, but he says it's not enough
Mhm.
for what you need. And he's telling me all the scientific pressures, PSIs, and he says, in the winter, you're gonna have to drain this and this. I go, oh my goodness gracious, for 17 times? I go, really? So, anyway, you see where I'm going.
What was that number?
Ah,
You
you guys
It's
got it.
like 167,000.
You guys got it.
167?
Oh my goodness.
Right.
I can't.
And that requires a holding tank.
He says you'd have to have a tank, and I go, oh my gosh, I didn't realize going into this, I never realized,
Yeah.
in the expense, forget it, I could.
Okay, so,
Okay.
yeah.
So we know that so if you're holding an event with 150 individuals or occupants, then you're using trailers for waste for
There's
the
no,
restaurant facilities,
no kitchen.
no kitchen. So what is it all going to be? It would be catered events. So where would the catering be set up?
Outside, I built kind of a parking lot in front of another barn
Okay.
area, he'd be outside.
All right. Would there be warming stations inside warming stations inside
Warm
the
up the food.
yeah, like
Sternos.
sternos
Where
or
the
serving stations.
Like if people were having
the buffet line.
buffet?
Exactly, like
Yeah.
if people have buffet, would you have would we have stoves? Or do you expect to have everybody go outside to get food?
Yeah, the way when I've been to these before, all the cooking's done outside.
Correct.
And they have servers, they bring the food.
Plate by plate, or
They
is
bring
it
the food
or is
in.
it going to be serving state like buffet stations? Is the next?
I don't,
Okay.
it could be either way.
Yeah, I think that depends on the caterer.
The caterer itself.
The caterer itself, I know, yes.
When my daughter got married, we rented a tent. We
Right,
did something somewhere.
I do realize that, like, when my wife and I got married, they, for that one, we had buffets for the appetizers and for certain things, so yes. But in this facility, all the food would be cooked outside.
No candles,
Okay.
no flames.
Okay.
Yeah, this is Andy from the board. I
Yeah,
think the concern is like,
Yeah.
when you have a catering event, you have a table inside with a sternos and an open flame. That's where the questions are coming from.
Yep.
We could provide a document or documented to require the caterers to do everything outside, if that is a requirement. To do that, we can provide it. We can make a document for the caterers, they will have to follow these guidelines. That's what you see fit, is we can put together a document like that.
This is,
If you get a cold day for an event, you're not going to bring in any type of heating units
No,
for the barn?
no.
It is what it is. If you picked a day and it's cold, sorry.
Well, it's also that all the events, he's gonna close it up after October 30th, so.
My sister got married on Columbus Day
Yeah.
weekend and it was freezing.
Right.
And they had portable heaters on Orchard Creek because
My
they
daughter
could.
got married on October 15th, and we lucked out in the daytime, but we rented a tent. And the tent person that rented you the tent, they had a big, huge heater
Mhm.
that they put to the side of it. Maybe it was propane or something, I'm not sure. And it blew the hot air in.
But you wouldn't do that.
No. We'd have to close it.
So,
October is the date that was
Go
given to
away.
me, but I don't know if we're going.
It gets cold.
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does.
But in the summer too, it's pretty warm. Do you know the average temperature for the month of September here in New York State now?
Probably like close to 80.
Isn't it something? Isn't it something? How we've changed it? I've heard anyway.
so the emphasis is really on the property, the event being on the property, not necessarily totally in the building, is what you're getting at, is
I like to set up some picnic
the-
tables.
is outside. Okay. The construction of the stairs
Yep.
going to the loft, is that also gonna be heavy timber? Or is it traditional framing?
It's traditional framing. What I did was I took 2x12s, I made my stringers, going up,
Yeah.
okay? And I got 2x12s for the steps. There's 7 inches of rise, because that's a commercial rise, okay? I got it set on one side, it's almost, it's not quite 4 foot wide. 40, the inside measurement, I believe, is 43 inches wide.
Okay.
Same on the other. No, they're not the heavy timber.
Okay,
You got the heavy timbers
For
are all
framing.
verticals.
Yep,
And the
okay.
horizontals for the main structure.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, that
Okay.
is not.
Okay.
And also the wood that I used upstairs to frame this, they're 8x4s, okay? 8x4s, 12 foot long. Framed this way, okay? Let's say, or framed this way, okay? And then every 2 foot on center. Then I put 2x8s on top of those, that's your floor. 2x8, it's dimensional timber.
okay.
Nominal two by. It's full two by eights.
Well, it's dimensional
Yeah.
timber, it's not full
It's
2x8.
not full. Okay.
Yeah, it's a,
You know, it's traditional.
yeah, Douglas for two
Okay.
eight.
2x8,
Okay.
Yeah.
that's your floor.
Yep, okay.
There's a lot of wood. Oh, I know.
I'm just concerned, I wanted to know what the stairs were like going up.
Yep. And they're gonna be open on the side. What I mean by open, you'll have your railings and that. It's
Right.
not an enclosed,
Walkway,
no.
it's not enclosed underneath. It's all
No.
open underneath the
Yeah.
stairs, okay.
Does it lose its heavy timber designation if the mezzanine floor is not heavy timber?
Just the floor is not. The framing is.
Framing is,
2x construction.
what is it, 2x,
What's the framing?
The framing is
What's it?
I don't know.
4x8, you said? Yeah, framing is 4x8.
4x8?
Yeah.
I would think that's heavy
It
timber.
says 2x10s at 16 on center, is that correct?
2x8s, or excuse me, they're 8x4s.
The joists, the floor joists of,
They're 8x4s.
Oh, the mezzanine.
of
Yeah,
mezzanine,
mezzanine,
talking about the
That's
mezzanine.
wrong.
Okay,
So that's not right.
okay, so I have to make, I'll have to make that, okay. So you changed that.
Go ahead.
Okay,
To
so that,
keep the look.
so it's
Yep.
not 2x10s?
Yeah, you get the heavy timber.
Ah, yeah.
consistency.
Okay, so what, I'm sorry, what is the, it's
They're
instead of
8x4s,
8x4s, at what's the spacing?
2 feet. And then you got your 2x8, your 2x8's running, across on the top.
Oh, so then you
Oh,
do
so
have,
you do have-
so you do have you say 2x8 floor joists that sit on 4x8 beams?
Yes.
Okay,
So it's a kind of a mix.
Want to see the pictures?
But they have some pictures. I can provide more.
No, you have.
We have no
You got it,
pictures
right?
with,
Yeah.
Yeah, I
with
saw
that.
you.
Yep.
You had it. You had it.
I saw the mezzanine.
You had it.
There was,
You have it.
I believe so.
Oh, I can
I
provide.
saw it. He had it. There you go.
But that doesn't show the
Yeah.
completed mezzanine.
Oh, yeah, it's not completed. I don't have it completed.
right.
No, I think I might have some more.
That was when I was still building
Yeah,
at that point.
yes.
So the 4x8 beams, now it looks like on the plan, it looks like the beams were spaced at 12 feet on center, sorry. But that's, now you're saying that the 4x8s are actually at 4 feet on center.
Well, you're doubling it up though, you're going 8x4s. And you're going this wide now, like this thick.
Well, I can provide calculations that demonstrate those are okay, if necessary.
Right, I'm just trying to just imagine in my head, so where you said that you had 2x10s spanning 12 feet, you now have 2x8s spanning less.
No, not 2x8s.
No, the four, the,
8x4s.
the beams.
I'm talking about the floor joists themselves.
There's no
Right,
pictures
so
of the floor.
the beams, I understand, are heavy timber, but the floor joists themselves are
Eight by
less.
fours, heavy beams.
So that's what I'm asking, does that jeopardize their heavy timber designation?
I'm looking right now.
Thank you, Jackie.
There's requirements for the columns and the beams and the girders.
Right.
I don't see anything
Nothing
for
for
the
the
joists.
Okay.
Floor framing, minimum dimensions shall be in accordance with the table, so that's just the beams.
See the picture you have right there? That's it.
Right, but we're just talking about the framing for the floor.
So the way the code classifies a heavy timber construction is that it doesn't, try to figure out if it includes like 2x material. 2x would not be considered heavy timber construction.
Oh, you mean for the
For
floor?
the
Yeah.
floor support,
Because 2x materials we
The
use,
floor ring, not a floor support.
No, yeah,
Floor ring?
so they're laid flat?
No,
Nobody's gonna
2x8s are
use.
flat, that's your
finished
subfloor,
floor.
finished floor.
That's
all in
correct.
one.
So that's what's getting
so
confusing.
the 2x10s at 16 on center does not exist.
No.
Correct.
So what you're saying,
Yes.
so your flooring is 2x8s on the flat,
That's correct.
Yes,
That span
that spans
between the 4x8s.
4 feet on
That would-
center.
That are just placed over this.
Yeah,
They span over the
I might
4x8s.
have a photo.
Oh, okay, right.
So that wouldn't be.
Can I stand up?
yeah,
Absolutely.
Please stand up,
See
right.
this? I built this whole thing. See this? 2 feet apart. These are 8x4s. Then you take your 2x, you run them this way, that's your
Okay.
finished flooring.
Understood.
So just laid on
Okay,
top.
understood.
Right,
Okay,
so the
so the,
framing is heavy
right,
timber.
the drawings were. is-
No, you're right.
Yes, okay.
That's what's drawn as.
Yeah, the drawings
Yeah,
are
you do
correct,
the question here, you-
right,
It was
I
one
did.
change, it was
So
a
you
change
ask
you
me
made.
and I can help you.
understood. So it's 2x8s
Is that on the
on the
diagonal?
flat as the flooring.
They're not on the diagonal.
Okay, they go,
Yeah.
straight. okay.
Right.
They're not on the diagonal.
Okay.
I
So the
get
framing
it.
is actually heavy.
Well, I took shop class.
Yes, the framing's all heavy timber.
So they-
Floor construction, I think,
Framing
is
is
something,
heavy
I don't
timber.
think the code really,
It doesn't.
I don't think that.
And we have a,
That has-
I have a certificate from the PE.
It's better than subfloor.
All right, I got it now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
It's-
I bet.
It's 10
Yeah.
inches thick.
Okay, that clears that up.
Yep, we're good.
Thank you.
So they have a PE with.
I think that's, I believe that's. you.
Yeah, I'm-
That's
I'm-
actually the one that's.
I'm the licensed engineer, yes. So there are some things that are being, you revised that you wanted to, I'll revise that for
So,
ourselves.
yeah, I think they have the drawing corrected.
Right.
To represent what's been
I can do
constructed.
that.
There are a couple things that, when you're actually doing it, the pictures look pretty. They don't either work or it just isn't. It's not reasonable. That is reasonable, what you're saying. That's why we gave you the up-to-date picture.
Right.
The S code enforcement clarify here.
We certainly can. We do have a code enforcement official present
Mike,
online.
What do you want to ask?
Good morning,
Just-
everyone. This is Mike Wager. How are you?
Good, Mike.
Mr. Wager, nice
Good.
to have you here. Thank you for being here. Yeah, if you don't mind expressing your opinion on the hearing and the petition here and let us know what you think.
Okay, absolutely. Yeah, I need some clarification on the product that is built there right now with the flooring. The revised plan would be great for that. As far as the occupant load, they were approved for 150 people through our zoning planning board. I know that there were 17 events planned for the year. That was granted to Mr. Bailey, the applicant. As far as the distance of travel for the building, anywhere on the top in the mezzanine area, somewhere around less than 75 feet. That's certainly something that's acceptable to me. I'd like to see the hand railing and railing guard system for the mezzanine area, designed for that, a little more detail on that. I believe the doors at the two openings, or the wide doors there, barn doors, are just gonna be left open, or they can close, but we're gonna have 4 regular doors, push bars with emergency lighting and exit signs above them. So that seems like that's all clear now, so it's pretty much all I have. No other concerns.
And you're acceptable with parking, emergency access to the site, and
Yeah.
that 150 number with no sprinkler system would be acceptable to you?
Right, so yes, the parking would be ample parking. He is gonna have food trucks and restroom trucks there parked off on a separate area. As far as there's ample parking for that site for the cars and the workers that will be attending this event.
You also have a letter there from the fire department that I got, because they brought the fire truck up. Make sure
Okay.
you
Yeah,
got-
that was gonna be next.
You got that?
We do
Yes.
have that.
Now widening the opening
I
of your
did.
driveway, you've already done that?
Oh, geez.
Okay, okay,
You did that, and then you had to make sure the fire truck could come up. I
okay.
had the fire chief come up and he wrote the letter,
Okay.
and I already widened the gate on the end.
Hey, Mike, it's Jackie. Are you the one also doing the operating permits and responsible for enforcement in here?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so you don't have any concerns about how this will go in the future then?
Well, I believe the way this was presented to me from planning and zoning, they gave Mr. Bailey 17 dates that he could use, or 17 events for the year. At this point, I have no concerns of that. The noise, I mean, they're far enough away from any other property. They discussed the traffic issues and things like that, but there was no concern from any other agency out there. So I believe I'm comfortable with that as well.
Were you proposing, this is Laura on the board, were you proposing manual fire alarms as well? I just noticed that when I looked at the drawings, or no? I see you have smoke detectors, but are there manual fire alarms, manual pull stations?
We didn't put those in, but we could provide those, yes. That's necessary. Basically pull alarms, where you pull them down to sound alarm.
What was under?
Yeah, it's not required when you have less than 300 people, but it may be something we should talk about as a substitute for sprinklers.
You have like one on each wall.
We have one by each exit door.
On each exit door?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just an extra level of, because of the volume of space, and the way that smoke travels, just, you can rely on the automatic. but-
Right, no, I understand.
Yeah.
So we would have one basically a foot away from each of the exit doors, at like 3 feet high, so people can pull them easily, and they basically would be bar.
It would set off the alarm system.
Okay.
I mean, we'll decide if we're gonna, when we go into recession.
Okay.
That would be one option,
We'll talk about it,
Yeah.
yeah.
one consideration.
That-
Say that we have.
When you say an alarm system, does that mean that when you pull this, it's like your smoke alarms, how it goes off? Beep, beep, beep?
Yes.
It's like a manual pull station, so someone can manually on their way out.
And is the smoke detection system now monitored? I don't know if it needs to be, is it just local, it enunciates within the barn, so anybody in the barn can hear it, but there's no monitoring company, like an alarm company that would notify anybody else? And I don't know if it needs to be, we can look at that, but
And it's not planned,
It's just
but
smoke
we could, I don't know if that, if it is required, we could.
I don't think it's
there's probably a way
required.
to set it up.
I've got to look at it. But the smoke detectors are currently already installed?
No, they're not.
They're not, okay.
No, the electrician,
But they're shown on the drawing, right?
we're at
There are.
point.
Okay, they're just not there yet,
You know what I'm
okay.
saying? We're at that.
You're closed in, but.
Oh, we're all closed
Yeah,
in,
okay.
yeah, we're waiting for the power company right now, they're gonna send a guy out, you know how they do it, and they tell you where the best way.
The planner, yep.
Right, that's right,
Yep.
the planner, that's what the electrician told me.
Okay. So,
So are they proposed to be installed below the mezzanine as well as above the mezzanine, the detection system, smoke detectors?
We were going to put them in, like more in the ceiling. The smoke detectors. We were going to put them on the ceiling, I think we we're going to put them like on a frame above.
Yeah, because I've only seen 4.
Yeah, right, they're, the way that I saw it, they were up above.
They're
That's how
above.
I was.
Yeah.
Right, above the mezzanine,
Right,
right,
so
so
that'd be
you kind of imagine, like, on the section,
Yeah, they'd be up
like
there,
maybe up high,
up in that area.
Where those fans.
right? So you're talking about mounting it on like the underside of,
We could,
The
well, we
tubby
can
or
mount
outside?
them on the walls if you prefer, or we can mount them on or we can mount them like up here, like on the collar ties. Like one up here, like in that, like in locations basically. Or if you need to have one of the mezzanine itself, we can put 2 more on the mezzanine if that's necessary.
we'll discuss that.
Yeah, we'll-
Um, It's really not our place to design a system.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying design, but if you feel that if we need more than 4, if we need 6,
Right.
then we can provide, probably more of them, so they're spaced out,
Right. Okay.
correctly, that would be,
Is that an interconnected system that's proposed? The alarms?
if
Or
it's necessary.
individual?
I think we're planning them being individual for now.
Okay.
But I guess if we have to have pole alarms, then they would have to be
It would have to
interconnected.
be independent, right?
And it would have to be,
Right.
if you want us to have the pole switches, then we would have to interconnect them. Because then the pole switches would have to sound to the ones, sound.
Great.
So we're not considering this a 2-story building, we're considering this a 1-story with a mezzanine.
That's my understanding. Is there any other?
That's how I would read it.
And the height on here is not the height per the building code, because the building code is the midpoint of the roof. So it's really not a 2-story, 27-foot high building. It's
No,
a
One
1-story with a
That's-
mezzanine
Right.
and less than 20 foot.
Yeah.
So we need to note that in our
Less than
findings.
20
We
foot
started
wide.
writing that out.
She's saying that which she's right, at the height on the ends is less than 20 feet because the roof, 27 feet at the peak. But with the roof
Oh, I
angle,
It's a-
It
it's a
sounds
medium-
like a lot less of a big deal when you say it's a 1-story with
I
a
understand
mezzanine
what you're
versus a
saying.
2-story.
I didn't
Which-
And the
which
median roof height,
I
when you
appreciate
have a gable.
that you're looking at the code correctly like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there a minimum ceiling requirement for the mezzanine?
What, Laura?
I said, is there a minimum ceiling height?
7 feet.
Okay, because I think we have 6 feet at the exterior wall, is that a problem?
It says,
Or is it just the majority has to be for the?
It's more height, it's
clear height above and below the mezzanine floor construction shall be not less than 7 feet.
8 feet below, 8 feet.
Right.
Under the
Only at the very
mezzanine was
outside
closer
wall,
to
you
10.
might, you know,
Yeah,
interior
that was a
Right.
lot.
Right.
Yeah,
goes all and over the ceiling.
Well.
No,
under
under the
mezzanine,
floor,
The ceiling,
What she's saying is,
The
I
framing
understand what you're saying,
Oh, it's
that,
8 foot.
8 foot, okay.
right, well, what you're saying is that. at
Laura's
the-
concerned about the top,
At the end, it's less than 8 feet.
Right, at the very
Because-
outside wall, it's
It's at
dimensioned,
6.
it's dimensioned to 6 feet.
Right, that's true.
But going that way.
At
But
the
it's a
roof
3
line
feet
and the mezzanine,
It's probably not.
yeah, where it comes down, what's the height? Six,
Yeah,
It's
6'8".
really clear.
What we're
It goes up
saying,
to about all the way.
what we're saying basically is, it's right,
It's a
it's right
big
here,
building.
it's not.
I know.
it's
Clear
not
height
7
above
feet,
it,
so.
7 feet.
It's 6
Right.
feet.
So they're supposed to have 7 feet.
Minimum throughout, doesn't matter.
And then it goes,
they could lower the, or no, they've already got it built,
So,
Right.
I thought it says, on here it says 8.4 though.
Where are you looking? Are you looking at the
That's in the
section?
middle.
Oh, no, that's in the main part, never mind,
Right.
okay.
It's right on the far right of that section of drawing, it says 6 feet.
So it's good at the
Actually,
11,
that's-
10, it's
that's-
just not,
That's actually not even from the floor, it's less than 6 feet. That's 6 feet from some other note. Actually, less than. That's true. So, alright, so we don't know the exact dimension. Okay.
Do we have the square footage correct? The 4,464, that's the
Yes,
floor
that
area?
is, right, that includes the mezzanine.
That
Yes.
includes the mezzanine?
Yeah,
as it should.
Okay, that's what I was just making sure.
So what we see in these pictures, this is as it is today, you haven't done any more work since these were taken.
No, now the mezzanine has been installed.
The floor of the
Yeah, the floor.
mezzanine, you can see the framing there.
And the framing,
He's
Okay.
added the flooring to the mezzanine.
and the stairs are built.
Yes. Those
Oh,
are
I
built-
thought they were going to be built, they're already.
Right, well, yeah, but in December, he built those in December, some of these letters were written. Right before he built them.
I work on it every day, every hour.
What's your stair rise and run?
You said it was 7 up,
7,
so it's
Seven.
11 run at least?
Yes.
Because you're using 2x12s,
That's correct.
so a little
She's right.
over 11.
Okay.
And you're in the exit pathway from the middle of the mezzanine, the building inspector's asking for less than 75. Is that with the barn doors closed? Let's say it's a cooler day and you
Yeah.
have installed, that's,
Right, yeah,
that's
yeah, we have
To the-
we have those two,
to the panic car exits.
the panic bar exits, they're pretty far
Okay.
to the edge, so that's, you can get out of there with less than 35 feet, yes.
How easy those doors slide open?
Meaning the sliders?
Yeah,
A finger?
finger, I figured that. Okay.
And they open the full width when you slide them?
Right, a total, you've got 2 8-footers, so they would open all the way up, you'd have 16
16
foot.
foot opening.
They're on tracks.
I know if you had like stoppers so that they can't go all the way.
Is there any desire to have more than 17 events a year? Do you think
Not
that
at
they
this
could
time,
be?
no.
At this time, I'm gonna just point something out, that we're asking for a variance, and what we do is we state all the finding facts. And one of those are gonna be that fact. If you choose or wanna go beyond 17, it could affect what our variance, because
I'll
our
say
variance
no.
today is based on that
I
condition.
hope it's less.
Especially since you're,
I do.
part of your
I
argument
know
is
all
the
this.
economic burden, so if you, for
Yeah,
17
that's-
events, this is a
So
reasonable
all of a sudden, the money starts
request.
coming in, and it's like, oh, I could do nights,
I
I
could
could
do
do 21.
winters with, well, heaters.
So I just wanna make sure that that's
But then I have to
Understood.
meet all the energy codes anyway.
Right.
Well,
Yes.
that's a whole different, we're
Correct.
not gonna heat this barn in the winter, are you kidding me?
He has to go in front of zoning,
I got
to
the.
get that approval as well.
Yeah.
Right, there would be
Yeah,
a lot of
You'd be
approvals.
outside of the date range
Absolutely,
anyways.
that's all, that's the only reason, that's why I put in for the summertime.
Yeah.
I don't know that he would have to come back here, like
We
if he
get
went
done
to
baling hay.
Right.
zoning and
that's
said,
the
can I have 20
We don't
events?
know.
But then he's not back here to us unless
Correct.
we say as a condition,
only- I understand,
Correct, and that's why I just wanted to
Yeah.
make sure that,
I understand.
You lose the appeal of the barn look when you start insulating. I see, did you do SIPS panels for the roof system? Or
Can I
no?
get up?
Or are they, it's all,
Yeah,
it's just
you have
decking
pictures. You have pictures
Of the
of all the beams.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Right, so we.
No, it's not insulated.
okay,
yeah,
that's
it's
all.
it's got insulation.
And I know that if I went after, a certain date, that if I wanted to put heat in there, I would have to meet the energy codes.
Yeah.
I would have to insulate it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been all,
Okay,
Chris, he and I spoke about this. He
Okay.
straightened me out on a lot of things. He educated me on
sure,
things, anyway.
okay.
And-
now these igloos are becoming a thing in the winter.
Well, then we talked about too, what's fossil fuel, what's not fossil fuel. Wood burners are not fossil fuel, okay?
No, they're not.
They're not. I had one, that's how I heat my house.
Right.
I had it for 20 years now, okay? And that's how we heat the milk room for the barn and everything too for the cows, okay? And so we do it with the wood. But then Chris goes, well, how about them circulators? You're gonna need electricity for that. I go, well, let me ask you something. I said, I have some Amish friends. Look at all them batteries they have. I said, in the corner of that storage room, I go, can I use a big battery? He goes, how are you gonna charge the battery? I go, solar? Can I go solar panels? Nope, because that is a form of electricity, he tells me. I go, oh my goodness. I go, how would you run this? But then there is a formula. If it's a low energy building and it's done by an engineer,
Right.
the square footage and what have you, there is a possibility that you would be able to do something
Right,
like that.
but.
But I have no intentions, guys,
Okay, all right, that's
of
good.
doing that. No.
So this photo does not show other doors cut in, so you
You're right, they haven't happened to stuff, they haven't
they
been
are
stuff.
not in yet.
They're not in yet because I had to wait for the doors. I just picked up 2 of them yesterday. I picked them up to figure out, okay, this is where I gotta cut the hole in the wall.
Okay.
The only thing I've put in is some of the windows right now. Yeah. But there'll be 2 doors on each side. Okay? Yeah, panic doors, separated apart. Like what you have here somewhere with the bar.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what my plan is. Because I understand the sliders, they're not crazy about
They're
them.
not really exit doors.
I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they can open full width, so that's good. You could
But if
leave them
anything ever
open.
happens, they're the first thing they're gonna open and get out.
Are they gonna be closed most of the time when there's events there? Are they gonna
I
be
hope
open?
not.
But I think what you said,
Those days are warm.
right, but if it's very windy, people might wanna close the,
Yeah,
people might wanna
buggy.
close the.
I can't answer everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, understood.
I mean, we don't.
But the intent is for it to be all open, and
It
the
is.
space around the
Yeah.
building is
Yeah,
being
To be
used.
used.
Is it
Yeah.
lit up, the egress around the building? Is it lit up, is there lights?
Right now, I was telling you, the electrician
Yeah.
and I were working on this. I have an engineer, I had an engineer involved a long time ago, because when I went for my original planning for the board, they wanted to see where you're gonna put the lights.
Yeah.
We're gonna have down lighting,
Where is the anticipated locations for lights?
where the cars are being parked and such, and then inside the building, around the building-ish area, I don't know every spot.
We don't have a site plan, do we?
No.
No, submitted here. Seriously, there's.
Right, but okay, I think I might have a copy of it.
Okay.
It wasn't, it wasn't part of it, but I think I can get a copy of it.
I didn't bring it.
I think I have a copy of it.
If these were questions that the town asked,
Yeah.
Right,
I get it.
right, well,
And I think that's what code enforcement's requesting, all those documents, updated documents.
right, because you want to make sure that when someone does leave by one of those 4 doors, that there's a path for them to walk on that's lit enough that they can safely get away from the building if it's on fire. So to walk out into a dark field where, it's especially if it's a door that's not facing your parking lot, where they don't really know where they are, they don't know how to get back to the parking lot, the path is dark. So.
Or that there is a path, I mean, for
Right.
mobility impaired people,
Yeah.
how is the surfaces around those exit doors, like how consistent is it? Is it all 4 exit doors lead out to a flat?
Is it paved or gravel?
But it's at least flat.
Yeah, and if this is the barn right here, guys, right here, we're in it, the parking lot's right there.
Right.
It's a field that was all scooped out and all the gravel was put in, okay? And then on top of it, I put that Norlite, that black little stone, shell dust. Yeah, looks nice. That's what's on my driveway. It's just 1,200 foot back off the highway. It's on a parcel, it's about 70 acres there on that particular piece. And it's, so it's back, but it's in a hayfield.
Any other questions or thoughts, comments? Board members?
Would have been nice to see the site plan, but
Yeah, that's all right.
I don't,
And I have
I was trying to do it, I don't think I brought that with me.
this is part of it.
That'd be hard. I was gonna say, that's one of the easier, right?
Probably not. No, I didn't, no, I didn't start signing show.
Out down here.
We certainly can, and they're really sure it's done.
Here's an outside.
that's how it is as of now. I was just wondering what the town approval looks like.
Okay. Any other, while we have the petitioners here, check any other questions? All right. Anybody online? Mike, any other comments for the board? Before we go into the,
He saw the site.
yep,
This is Mike. I'm satisfied as long as we get some updated documentation. And the 17 events is what he's going to propose right now. If he goes to 4 more events, he needs to come back to the planning and zoning for make an amendment to the amount of events he needs. But that's all I have.
understood, right, we agree, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else online that has a comment before we take a break? Okay, great, well then, at this time, what we'll do is, we're gonna go into deliberation. We're gonna ask that petitioners leave the room while we do that, and then we'll invite you back in when we're ready to do the case. Thank you for your explanation. So let's go off the record.
We're on the record.
Thank you, recording has started, so we're going out of recess in matter of petition number 2023-0638. The petition is pertaining to the building located at 204 Barnes Road in town of West Sand Lake, County of Rensselaer, State of New York. So at this point, the board has deliberated, and we do have some comments for the petitioner to consider before concluding the hearing. So let's go through those. So something to keep in mind when we bring it to the board, everything gets reviewed. I know we're looking at the sprinkler, but we're looking at the whole thing as a big picture. And what we have in front of us presented is not enough to make a determination today. So we have a couple options. You can ask the board to go forward with the, make a decision today, which we can, or we can say adjourn it until future, and we can describe what we're looking for in the future. And what that means is that we're going to ask that for example, site plans are missing. We don't have a site plan that we can review for fire access road. We don't have an accurate lighting plan, fire protection plan. The plans that were submitted, there's a lot of issues with those plans regarding the design of this building. For example, the loading that's specified on this plan is not a commercial loading. The mezzanine, we can't determine if it was designed for 100 pounds a square foot like it should be. The connection design for the building itself. So there's a lot of issues with the plans that are drawing issues with the board. And if you ask us to make a determination today, then it would not be a determination that would be in favor. So I'm asking, either you can ask us to adjourn it so that you can go back and update those information and get the information that we need.
Okay.
If that's,
So if we do adjourn, then you can give us the list of stuff that you would need to provide?
we would, it would just be a discussion right now, and we can articulate that a little bit. It's not going to be all inclusive list.
Okay.
If you open up these plans, for example, we could pinpoint a lot of things, but for example, when you look at the loading, the stair loading is 40 pounds a square foot. That is not a commercial loading for a commercial. 100 pounds a square foot for mezzanines isn't even described here. So if you open these up, we have concerns that things weren't designed, or not that they weren't constructed. We don't know what's been constructed, and that's what you're asking us to do. Is we're looking at the whole building as a whole,
Okay.
and we can't sit here confidently and say that everything has been constructed properly, and if it hasn't been documented properly.
Okay.
So documentation and what's presented to us today has to be very clear. We're missing a site plan. We understand that there's fire access, but we don't see that.
Okay.
We don't see what's around that building. You're telling us there's going to be lighting, but we don't know. We don't see that.
I have that at home.
So that
I thought it
proper documentation that's what's a lot of this missing, and that's going to be worked with Mike, the local code enforcement official, to make sure that documentation is in place, and that what gets submitted is that something the board can make a decision on.
So what did you need again? You need the site plan.
We definitely need site plans. We need updated documents.
The light plan. I have it.
Lighting,
I have an engineer.
A full electrical
Yeah.
plan.
You need a what?
a
There would be
full
a full
electrical.
electrical plan.
Yeah.
Like your,
It wouldn't be
Like
just, it'd be electrical.
from your
For
design
design
professional,
professional.
Yeah.
your design professional.
So the way a
should be
commercial,
providing that.
so I think what the disconnect is that there's residential construction, which some things like a 1-2 family dwelling, there's certain kinds of things that you kind of can do in that realm. When you get into commercial construction, the typical
Yeah.
design process is design professional and construction. And then the construction's built based on what the design professional put together. That is not clear here. It feels like things are working in tandem and together. And if whatever was put on these plans was not what's built. And that's what's been identified, example of the mezzanine. So I think we need to get the proper design professional to put together those kind of plans, electrical, structure, accessibility, egress,
Egress.
site,
Yeah.
Right, and
the whole
and they
package.
should accurately reflect what has been built.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if there have been changes between when those were first drawn and what was actually built, the plans need to be updated.
Okay.
We also, I guess, we say that there should be fully compliant with code, and for a heavy timber building, there should probably be a little more information about the joinery and how members attach, because, it's a different animal than stick framing in the conventional sense, so.
So you need to see like the mortise and tenon joints, the tree nails, everything's pegged, the big tip.
So when you say peg though, we don't know what.
We don't know what size pegs, we don't know, there's no,
Okay.
there's no
Detail.
details for anyone to really make a
Which would be
decision.
part of the
That
plans.
should all be in here detailed, even if it's as built,
Oh.
it needs to be
Okay.
in the plan so that we can look at them. We're looking at the big picture, we're not, I know you're asking us for one thing, but
I understand.
we need to see the whole safety of the building and, yeah.
That's, and join, this is 100, you have an assembly occupancy here, you're bringing in people from the outside, public users into a structure. It's not just a barn that's holding cattle, for example. It's a public assembly with a structured mezzanine. So it has to go through that whole process and make sure that it's safe for the public to come in. someone who has no idea who built it, someone who has no idea who designed it, is trusting the professionals and the builder. They designed it properly when they walk into that structure.
Okay.
No different than any other facility. So that is what needs to be demonstrated when we review a project
All right.
or any.
You understand what
Yes.
they're talking about.
Understood. So there's a lot of notes in here, for example, that reference residential construction. That's very specific to residential construction. I recommend vetting those and make sure, like the sign loading and other things, make sure that that's commercial and understood. Okay. So I'm getting the feeling that you don't want us to take a vote today.
No, we don't want you.
Okay. So
We'll adjourn and do
let's-
what
we'll
you
adjourn.
ask us.
based on your request to adjourn,
Yeah.
and then we will adjourn it today. And then
Do I
work with
pay
you.
another $100 or is this?
No,
No, it stays open. That's what happens. It stays open, but you still have to work with the building code enforcement official,
And
Mr.
Dan.
Jensen, Dan, Farrelly
Yeah.
at the department. They'll help if you submit. They'll help this, let you know if what you're submitting is accurate or not. But we're not going to do the work for you, obviously.
I can appreciate that.
Okay.
Right. And when you're working on the plans, I mean, Mike also mentioned a few things that he was looking for, such as details on the guard and railing at the mezzanine. So before you resubmit your plans to this board, you should make sure that Mike is satisfied with them as well.
Okay. I can submit to him first, are the meetings, I understand the meetings are bi-monthly usually, so we would have next meeting in March.
Correct.
So, I guess, can you, provide to us like what the date is?
They're
Uh,
listed
the
online.
Filing date?
All of our dates are already listed.
Okay.
Yep.
It's on the
Yep.
website.
And then the filing date, yeah.
Yeah, and you have to
Coordinate
be-
with.
yeah.
Okay, so
We need to have everything
I'll
submitted
coordinate with Dan
before.
Farrelly on that,
Yes.
to make sure we get the revised plans here for the March meeting. Okay, I can do that. I think that's,
The next hearing, this is Dan Farley. The next hearing date is March 20th. So you really should have everything to us at least a month prior to that hearing to make sure we have plenty of time to look at it. And then we'll, make a determination if that information is good enough to bring back before the board.
okay,
And just keep in mind, we're not the design professionals either, so this should go through a full code compliance path review for a commercial building. Okay?
all right,
Okay.
I can do that.
Thanks, Dan. All right, so we do have to conclude the hearing. If I do that, we do have to take a vote based on where the board's okay with adjourning the case. So do I have a motion to adjourn? Ms. Coons, motion, do I have a second? Okay, so I'm gonna go around and pull the board for motion to adjourn. Ms. Coons?
Aye.
Mr. Ellis?
Yeah,
Ms. Ryder?
Yay.
Mr. Barron? And Mr. Brown, chairman also says yay. That's 5 yeas to adjourn, zero nays to not. And at this time, that concludes the hearing. So thank you for being with us. Like I said, get us a lot of information, demonstrate that we have a safe structure. Okay? Thank you, everyone, for being online. Let's go off the record.